1, 2, 1, 2. Are we fine? Good afternoon, honorables, managers. Let us stand and pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for a day that you have given us, for a day that your mercies were renewed in the morning. We are appreciative of what you are in our lives, and we praise you for your loyalty, for keeping us safe and providing for us without us really deserving it. We commit this meeting to you, Lord. As we are here, we don't want to take decisions on our own and lean on our own understanding and our own knowledge, but we want to lean on the master's knowledge and understanding. God, guide this meeting and the proceedings of this meeting. Guide us to make the right decisions in the best interests of our town and its people. This we pray in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
You can be seated. While we are seated, I would also invite you to stand again for a moment of silence in honor of one of the great teachers that has footprints in the Rehoboth community and was laid to rest on Saturday, Mr. Neville Edward Ricketts. Just a moment of silence to recognize the contributions that he did to the community and to the country at large. Amen. We still stand when we are singing. We'll be singing in honor of all those that has passed, to also recognize that in midst of all this tragedy and our pain and sorrow, we still see the Lord as a shepherd to us. So we'll sing in Afrikaans, Die Here is my herder. Die Here is my herder, niks sal my ontbreek nie. Hy laat my neerlê in groen weivelde, na waters waar is, lei hy my heen. Na waters waar is, lei hy my heen. En baie diep al hy my heen. En baie diep al hy my heen. Hy plaas my voete op 'n ewige rots, en baie diep al hy my heen. Thank you so much. We may be seated. We'd like to welcome the Rehoboth residents and those beyond and on our social media platforms to the meeting, ordinary council meeting of the Rehoboth Town Council. We wish to acknowledge and extend our warm greetings to those that are from Rehoboth but are not currently in the confines of our territory, those that are abroad and that has interest in Rehoboth and that is children of Rehoboth, those that are in other towns but has the best interest or carries the best interest of Rehoboth in their hearts. Welcome to this meeting. We pledge and hope that we serve this beautiful town to the best of our abilities and that of God's guidance. So therefore, welcome. The reason why we are not wearing the official chains is because they are in for cleaning. They are very valuable, pure silver chains, and therefore they have to go in for cleaning. And that's why we will not be wearing the chains, me and the Deputy Mayor. So we do apologize for not wearing the chains in the chambers. But nevertheless, the meeting must continue. We also acknowledge the council's support staff, the CEO, together with the strategic executives and the legal officer and all those that are present today. We acknowledge the deputy, I acknowledge the Deputy Mayor and the chairperson, together with the vice chairperson and all the other councillors. Please welcome to the meeting and let's make the best out of it. With that said, we will continue with the meeting. We are done with the opening prayer and the welcoming. Now we are on to the next point, which is now the adoption of the agenda of the meeting of council 1st of June 2026, ordinary council meeting. Can we go through the agenda? We did receive the agenda 72 hours before, so therefore, are there any amendments or additions that you'd like to add to the agenda of today's meeting? Honorable councillors and the technocrats, is there any addition?
Maybe just under point 6, interviews with deputations. Both Alinze and Nedvent will not be presenting today.
Noted. Any other addition or alteration to the agenda? The Deputy Mayor.
Your Worship, Walker's Recycling, I got an email from them. They were asking for a MOU with Town Council. I don't see it's on the agenda, if I may. Thank you, Worship.
Guidance from the CEO. That is a communication that needs to, this is things that has been discussed on the management level and that is coming through the management level. It was not discussed at management, therefore it is not here.
Thank you, Worship.
Therefore, I would invite councillors for the proposal to adopt the agenda or not. Councillor?
I propose.
Proposed by Councillor Shuavani. Novasis. Second point, any? Seconded by Councillor Cecilia Tara. Then we move to the next point, application for leave of absence and declaration of interest by members of council. 3.1, application for leave of absence. The council is in full attendance, therefore no application for leave of absence was received. Declaration of interest by members of council. Is there any member that has an interest in any of the agenda points? No interest declared. We move to the 4th point, confirmation of minutes by the previous meeting of the council. 4.1, confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting of the council. OCM 11/0526, 3/361. Minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 11th of May 2026. Is there any alterations that you'd want on the minutes as we receive again the agenda 72 hours prior to this? We'll just allow indication as to on which page we should go if we have any thing to amend. I then assume that the minutes are correctly relayed in the agenda book. Therefore, I would invite proposal that we confirm the minutes from the councillors.
I propose that we confirm the minutes.
Councillor Keiser and Councillor Deputy Mayor. Then we move to the next point, that is now Point 5, official announcements, statements and communication. The CEO, you have a Circular 2 of 2026, sale of government service land for housing purposes. Then suspension of water and electricity services to non-paying big businesses, government ministries and other government institutions. We would give the opportunity to the CEO to share the directive that we received from the ministry.
Thank you, Worship. The directives that are sent by the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, we normally put it on a notice, but this time around I instructed that we put it under announcements and communications as it's supposed to be, so that we can just read it off so that everybody can see that it's a directive from the ministry. I have shared it on the screen also so that people it can be seen. It's there. Coming directly, Circular 2 of 2026, sale of government service land for housing purposes. There is a directive to all mayors and chief executive officers of municipalities and town councils, all chairpersons and chief executive officers of village councils. The president was copied in, and even the deputy minister and the ED. Suspension of water and electricity services to non-paying businesses, government ministries and other government institutions. Most, if not all, ministries and government institutions have failed to pay the local authorities' accounts for services rendered to them by the local authorities. The non-payment for services rendered to government ministries, big businesses and other government institutions by the local authorities have rendered most, if not all, local authorities bankrupt and unable to render or manage the required services to the residents. In most cases, local authorities are suspending water and electricity services to poor residents who may in some instances only owe a mere 1,500, leaving government ministries, government institutions and big businesses owing over thousands or nearly a million. Collecting the outstanding million is far better revenue than a mere 1,500 Namibian dollars owed by an individual. Section 81B of the Local Authorities Act 23 of 1992 as amended states that the funds of a local authority shall consist of the rates, charges, fees and other monies levied under provision of this Act and received by the local authority council. Therefore, failure by a local authority to collect rates, charges and fees owed by government institutions and big businesses results in local authorities' poor revenue or no funds, where bailouts are now becoming the order of the day. All local authorities are now directed to suspend services to all government ministries, government institutions and big businesses owing or failing to pay for services rendered on or before 5 June 2026. This date gives all ministries ample time to settle their local authorities' accounts. I am aware of the fact that most ministries will deny having received the monthly bills or accounts, but that should not be a valid ground to sue for non-payment by the determined due date of 5 June 2026 to settle all outstanding and local authorities' accounts. This directive is intended to improve the revenue collection base of local authorities as per Section 81 of the Local Authorities Act 23 of 1992 as amended. The chief executive officers of the local authority shall be the accounting officer of the local authority council and shall as such be charged with the responsibility of accounting for all the monies received and for all the payments made by the local authority council. Unquote. I expected to ensure that this directive is executed without fail. The mayors, town, village council chairpersons are expected to act and execute their responsibilities in accordance with the provision of Section 5A of the Local Authorities Act 2023 of 1992 as amended, stating, subject to the provision of paragraph B of this subsection, the mayor and deputy mayor and the chairperson and vice chairperson of a local authority council shall be the principal head and in consultation with the municipal council or town council concerned, closely monitor the implementation of the policies contemplated in subparagraph 1 Roman. Kind regards. This is a letter by the Honorable Minister Sankwasa, James Sankwasa, Member of Parliament. Your Worship.
Thank you, the CEO. That is a directive that came from the the minister himself, and failure to execute it will cause the mentioned officials disciplinary action. I would also like, on this juncture, to, if the CEO, through the CEO, the strategic executive for infrastructure, do we have a plan of action in that regard? Or we started, I think we started already. So can we report, or should we first execute through the CEO?
Thank you, Worship. We have so far executed part of the directive in terms of the government institutions, where most of the schools and other government institutions has been cut in terms of electricity. So far, I've reported the Ministry of Health and Social Services has paid the whole account in terms of the electricity. That was the report from the Electricity Division. So we are awaiting all the others that are still having an outstanding accounts, and we encourage them to contact our accounts division to find out what is the status of the accounts in terms for the proper reconciliation of these accounts to be made. Thank you, Worship.
Then that is official announcements. Any other official announcement from the side of the technocrats? The SE for Community Development.
Thank you, Your Worship. The budget presentation to the community, which will take place on Sunday, 2 o'clock at the One Up Community Hall and 4 o'clock at the Hermanus van Wyk Community Hall. We have sent out notices today, so that's basically the announcement for now.
So the budget will be presented to the community on Sunday, 2 o'clock at One Up and 4 o'clock at the Hermanus van Wyk. Thank you. Captain Hermanus van Wyk Memorial Hall. Anything else? Mr. Dol?
His Worship, just an appeal to the public that we have started with the electricity meter replacement project. I was just informed that it's going very slow because people have already started rejecting and not allowing us to enter the properties. Just an appeal to say this is a project that will add value to this town council, and would want cooperation from the public. The project is done at zero cost from the residents and very minimal disturbance. So please, we are just appealing that we need cooperations to complete this project. Otherwise, it will cost us more, because if the contractor then has to come back and redo because of some rejections, then that will cost the council more. So just an appeal from us. But yeah, we have also sent out enough notice before the project started.
Mr. Mwembo, what is expected from the community? What do you expect?
Yeah, what we expect is only cooperation to allow the team to enter their premises to replace the meters. So what we are doing is we are replacing all prepaid meters which are not split type with split type meters, and all conventional meters to split type meters. We already have houses that have split type. Those houses will not touch because it's just the same. It's a new technology already. So we're just appealing cooperations to allow the team to access the premises.
Thank you so much. The SE for Community on Youth Engagement.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have also shared various notices during the course of today. Amongst others is what we have advertised last week regarding the Youth Development and Expo coming soon. So the Town Council, through the Office of the Mayor and Economic Development, will be hosting the first ever Rehoboth Youth Development Festival and Expo that will start on the 26th of July up till the 1st of August. The programs will be shared on the social platforms and through the various media houses. So the dates has been confirmed. We have sent out invitations to vendors, local community, and also to other stakeholders to participate and join us during this festival. Furthermore, we have a planned panel discussion on the 16th of June, Day of the African Child, where we envisage to have various stakeholders, including the Office of the Prime Minister. That will also take place in the council chambers. That is on the 12th of June, 4 o'clock. That's basically what we have for now. And we have advertised the youth test volunteers. We have received applications and we have done shortlisting today, and we will communicate by the course of tomorrow on the programs. For community development, Council has announced the establishment of a play park and outdoor recreation gym. That process is ongoing and we are nearing our final stages of starting with that project. That's basically what we have under community services. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, empowerment workshops. There's been various complaints about on procurement processes from the community side. We have invited the Central Procurement Board to come and give training in terms of, and also to share knowledge and information to our local businesses. What is the requirements, what needs to be filled in, and that session will also be announced in due course. We have communicated with the Central Procurement Board of Namibia, which will come and do the training. So business people and SMEs will be invited so that they can be trained on how documents will be filled in, checklists is to be done, and all relevant, so that we've also take cognizance of the fact that fitness certificates and the pricing thereof and all that will be explained in that session, information session that is coming in the next 2 weeks to the community. I think the SE wants to expand on that.
My apologies, Your Worship, Council and the community. Yes, it's missed my mind. The program is slated, the training program is slated for next week. We will communicate on the platforms. We are basically targeting local youth for business registration, mandatory requirements, as well as the bidding processes. So this train and proposal writing. We have also consulted with the Social Security Commission regarding the development fund that they are busy with. They will communicate to us by the course of tomorrow when the hard up outreach is planned. So we are also anticipating their visit. Therefore, we are inviting the Rehoboth youth who are eager to participate into these development programs to please attend the training so that we can assist them into proposal writing as well as the checklist and requirements, so that when Social Security is here, we are able to submit proposals. Further to that, we have also advertised today, considering the accommodation facilities in Rehoboth, which are quite limited and not known, that during the festival we anticipate a high representation of councils and stakeholders. So we have urged the community to please submit the accommodation facilities to the PR and LET offices. Also, an announcement or notice will go out tomorrow for local youth, artists, and musicians, not only for Rehoboth, but also for the whole of Hardap region, possibly Karas, if not nationally, to submit their interest to us through the LED and a PR office for the festive music show that we are planning on the 1st of August. The much anticipated Magdeza Rumble in Anland has been promoted. Postponed until further notice due to the executive committee who is tasked with planning that event is also tasked with other activities, so the times are clashing, and thus we could not have this show. But we will still continue with the music show for local youth and interested youth in the region as well as nationally. So please contact our offices and we will give you more details on this. Thank you.
Just to expand on the panel discussion, on the 16th of June, the Prime Minister will most probably be here where the youth of the region and the town will engage directly with the Prime Minister to ask the questions that are pertinent to youth development and raw questions such as why is unemployment, so why is our representation in various sectors as a town of Rehoboth and as people of Rehoboth. Those questions will be directly posted to the Prime Minister, in which we'll have a very good panel discussion, and the Prime Minister as the head of government would answer these questions to the youth. That signifies the Youth Day, which originally started in 1976, where the young people took up arms against segregation in education. And therefore, we want to build on the capacitating young people to be open and frank and to question government and to also raise their voices in terms of and have input in terms of the development of the country. So therefore, the young people of the region and Rehoboth itself is invited to partake in this in this event, where it is a rare opportunity where our Prime Minister hopefully will be answering questions directly to the young people of the country. That said, we have done justice to interviews, official announcements, statements, and communications. Is there any other announcement? None. We move on. The dates for the youth trainings. This is empowerment trainings. We have experiences of when, for instance, Social Security is coming to Rehoboth, and when the Social Security is coming with the funding projects, our young people doesn't have business plans, they don't have proposals, and then Social Security has a cut-off date. So we want, as the council, to capacitate and empower these young people of our town to be trained into this proposal writing before we invite and have this platform where all the funding organizations will be in one room with the Youth Expo. And before that, they should be capacitated. They should know how to write a proposal. Their business plans must be ready, and they should be registered, having registered businesses. Thank you, Jeffro. So that they can tap from. We don't have to send back people when the funding or the funders are here or the donors are here. So with that said, the dates will be announced on our platforms specifically, but it will be in the course of the next 2 weeks. All those empowerment trainings, procurement, business proposal writing, panel discussions, all those things will be held in the next 2 weeks, but the dates will be communicated on our social media platforms. Also, we move to the next part, which is now 6 on our agenda, interviews, interpretations of persons summoned or requested to attend the meetings of a council. We had 2, but I'm made to understand that both of them are not present, Alensi and Nedvent. They are not present, so therefore we'll move to the next petitions. We did not receive any petitions from our community. Therefore, we move on. Mr. CEO, did you receive petitions? We did not receive petitions formally. So we move on to the next point, motions of members. Is there any motions, intent of motions that any of the members of council wants to present today for the next council meeting, to be tabled in the next council meeting? Or did we have motions that was tabled last month? We don't have. We did. I think Councillor Kutsia had a motion.
Your Worship, we did, but I didn't submit anything due to the technical department being too busy, and it requires, because we don't actually have, it requires private land to see to that we get that facilities in town. Yeah, but that's, for now, that's only that.
So would you now
So,
register your intent for that motion next month?
Your Worship, I still have to get certain information first from the technocrats in order to see how we can, because like I said, it's in public, it's in private land, private erven. So I believe that we first have to get consent from them in order for me to say we can go ahead with the motion.
Thank
For
you.
the ablution facilities.
Thank you, Honorable. We are now, is there any other councillor, the chairman?
Thank you, Your Worship. I wish to make use of this opportunity to inform the House that I will be moving a motion in terms of Rule 13.1 of the standing rules of council in the subsequent ordinary council meeting.
It is noted as such. In do we have another councillor? Am I right, councillors? Councillor Kutsia?
Yes, Your Worship, it's just the content of the motions that
The content of the motion,
You must give it.
Councillor Tabango.
The chairperson, thank you, Your Worship. The motion deals with naming and renaming of streets.
That community development, you will assess with the naming and renaming of streets. The motion will be dealt with then. And then it will be tabled in the next council meeting. Any other motions, colleagues, councillors, honorable councillors? None.
Worship, on the motion of the Honorable Chairperson, there is already a motion that was already submitted, and there is already a committee on the same motion that the Honorable Chairperson just now mentioned. Can we provide him with the information so that he can see it, so that perhaps he can continue on that motion but come back to and amend on that current motion that is already there on the renaming and naming of streets? Okay. Because I think some of them, like the His Worship, the late His Worship, His Excellency, Honorable Geinkop is already part of that motion. So I believe we can just do amendments on that current motion that was there already.
Thank you, Councillor. On our memorandum of understanding, we learned best practices from the Swakop municipality, and then what we did is that now the motion must go through the community development part, the division, so that it can check on all those checklists, and then it will be tabled in the next meeting. So, of all street names and all renaming of places and all that, we have a committee when we have a policy on that. So it will be now tabled to the honourable councillor will, in consultation of the community development division, work on that. I would also like to appeal to our community members that vandalism of our street names, we have only 3 or 4. But the vandalism is of such nature that both Dr. Geinkop's street name was removed, and Honorable Captain Hans Diergaard's street name was removed. And I don't understand why we are doing that as community members. We are supposed to be proud of these legends in our communities, and our children are supposed to look at that monument and ask, who is Hans Diergaard, so that we can relate the contributions that was made by that legend in our community. So therefore we appeal to the community members to guard against vandalism and also talk to the children. And also, I think sometimes it's also adults that vandalize. The cemeteries are also being vandalized. And people's loved ones' gravestones are also removed and cut in, all that. Let us be responsible. The other announcement that I need to make is, sorry that I have to make it at the motions, but it was official announcement. Our cemeteries are now full to capacity. I've been informed today that it might only be in the next 2 weeks before we move to the new cemetery. So the new cemetery will be in full use by middle June to the 1st of July. Then the community must take note that we'll move to that part. The cemetery is very organized and detailed, and we would specifically know where to bury who, children, adults, whatever, that is segregated. And therefore we are informing formally the community of Rehoboth that we will move towards mid-June and 1st of July to the new cemetery. Therefore, please take note, and that at a certain point we will have to close the to all cemeteries and start with a cleanup campaign. The cleanup still continues. It says clean where you are. So clean your loved one's grave, and we continue with the next one. That is the announcement. And then we continue with 9 answers to the questions of members, of which notice was given. CEO, did you receive any questions from the honorables?
None so far, Your Worship.
Question was posted to the administration to answer in this meeting. Councillor Kutse?
Your Worship, sorry, just based on your comment that you make regarding the vandalism, we just have to follow up on the peace officers. So because we just, I think perhaps Your Worship, if you can remember, we said the peace officers and then penalties and charges that will be done and dealt with on that purposes. So perhaps we can just make a notice on the peace officers, because I think that some of them went already for training. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's in the division of community and health and what that new division, but we have the penalties, but to compliance and then to implement our penalties, we need the peace officers. So we will deal with that. We are luckily we are in memorandums of understanding with affluent municipalities such as City of Windhoek and Swakop municipality. So we tap from what are they doing, and we use those best practices. We can move to 9 and 10. Report of the Management Committee referred to in section 26, paragraph 1. No, subsection 1, paragraph E of the Act. Is there none? The recommendations of the Management Committee, Office of the Chief Executive Officer. The monthly report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, the monthly report has been dealt with in the Management Committee, and during the submission of the report there are issues that were handled, because this was actually a presentation report the last time, because we said we are going to move a little bit from the complexity of the report and try to make it more flexible in order for the honourable councillors to have more insight and to ask questions in terms of what we need to do. And as we said in the first part of the report, we mentioned about the executive summary in terms of the strategic focus and the key challenges. Strategic focus in terms of sustainable development, service delivery, and then the strategic plan of 2019 to 2024 that already lapsed. And now, as we are busy now with a new strategic plan in terms of 2025 to 2030, which is a new one that is underway, where the consultant is already busy with the stakeholders in terms of that plan. The key challenges, as we said during the report, is financial accountability, utility debts, operational efficiency, and so forth. This is just some of the issues that we wanted to highlight in the report. We dealt with the report in terms of delays since the last update that we had in the previous report, which is normally the agri plots, land delivery processes, burgersoek and Volstruis vlakte that we are still working on, the alienation scheme in Block E, the 609 Erwin, and as I've indicated, the strategic plan 2026 to 2030, the workshop staff complement is already done. Then the labor matters needs to be updated. Budget approval, which we already obtained from the OCM, which the Mayor just mentioned. Sorry. The engagement with the public and also the presentation at the Regional Council, which I have already communicated with Mr. Kutsia, of the Acting Chief Regional Officer of the Hartab Regional Council. As I've indicated, the land allocation processes, the mayoral projects was mentioned in the information and communication, youth exposed social programs, and the visitations that we are still planning to Social Security, NHE, First Capital, and Development Bank which has to be undertaken on the second phase by the technocrats. That is what we are stating. Normally in the report, as I've just said, that we've put up a wheels of strategy. If you can see, it's only a wheels of strategy for individual technocrats and even portfolio councillors to work on this, to try to navigate oneself in terms of what you are trying to do and what we want to achieve, and see whether we are on the right path or not. This is the first part of the report. Then, I'm sure the councillors went through the report on their own. So, and then we also reported on trainings, meetings and trainings undertaken as per clear instructions from the office of the mayor, that even to portfolio councillors and staff members, once they are going for trainings and workshops, they need to report. The mayor reported during the management committee on his visit to Gobabis, which was successful undertaken. And then there was also a report from the other councillors on the meetings in Marintal during the 13th of 15 to 13th, 15 May, where we met with the Standing Committee on Legal Matters in terms of the Constitution, and also in the engagement with the Attorney General on how best practices local authorities can tap off the experience and the knowledge and the qualifications from the Attorney General offices into representing us in legal matters, and so far as to avoid financial implications and cost accorded to it. That was during the week of 13 to 15 May in Marintown. Then I will unfortunately have to go through the HR, because HR is normally in camera, that we are dealing with HR matters. It's being part of the report also. If we go to technical, just trying to get there. Yeah, this is the HR. The HR one is, no, this is HR one, okay, it's only one thing that say how we deal with underperforming employees. It's just an individual subscript that we just wanted to put up. So, infrastructure, town planning and technical services, provision of houses, if we've indicated that it's still in the provision of trying to see how many houses we can register. Now in Erwin we can register in terms of the provision of houses. Allocation of Erwin per township, we have indicated how many properties are still liable to be allocated in terms of township development. We have Report Station Extension 2 and 3, which is a Banff area. Extension 4, still Banff area, the Sunstam, Rukoro, Beneficiary, Samstan, Block E, Extension 9 and 10, Development Workshop, which are busy. You will note that the Development Workshop is almost more than 30 beneficiaries that cancelled the properties in terms of the location and so far. But it's an opportunity they miss out, and there are still more. I've just had a report from the Development Workshop. The 30 that cancelled was even doubled up with more than 35 that applied again to be part of that initiative. Then we have a Block E, Extension 14, Brightway Housing Group. The Planned and Serving and Planning Proclamation is still with the Urban Planning Board, as we have said in the last report. Continuing on this one, we have Extension 13, the Shack Dwellers Federation of Namibia, where at Extension 1515, Erwin have already been surveyed and laid out. We are just looking at the construction of streets so that they can be allocated to the beneficiaries. The Planning Division, if I'm correct, is already busy with that initiative. And Block E, Extension 7 is a National Housing Enterprise, where they obtain 100 unserviced Erwin. But the main prerogative of National Housing Enterprise is to get service Erwin, but they opted to look at the modality of this unserviced Erwin, and we are just following it up with them also to see what is a way forward. Hillside Proper Extension 1 and 2, there we have, in terms of the technical committee with a developer, Valilia Civil Works, they are currently working on modalities how to bypass some of the barriers that they are experiencing. We are planning to have, I think Mr. Moembo also facilitated a process where a meeting will be held in order to update the office of the mayor on how far the process is. Portion 240, 206 of Rio Town and Townlands to be known as Rio Valley. Nansunga Properties is well underway with it, development over there, and we are proud to say that a lot of progress are being made in the completion of that specific project. Then we still on housing, we have upgrading of informal settlements in collaboration with GIZ, extension 3 to 6 Reebot Block H and extension 8 Block E, Roy Dane, where we almost have 6,000 beneficiaries. The number of plots is 2,200. It's planned and survey laying with the Urban Planning Board, which we have to follow up. Block F, extension 3 to 8, Burgershoek and Volstruisvlak informal settlement, 1,687. 1,597 household population of plus minus 4,763. There are some bottlenecks in those areas, especially in Burgershoek and Volstruisvlak, where the committee which has established under section 31W of the council were struggling to maintain order in terms of how people should maintain their properties. People are selling off the current structures just as they want to without consulting the committee. The last time we had a meeting with the committee and we were instructed to look at some ways. Now it becomes individual clashes that we need to involve ourselves in, which is quite difficult, your workshop. Then capital projects, as we mentioned, I've taken out a few capital projects. You will also note, your worship, that there was also a directive from the ministry. But before I can come to the capital projects for 2025, 26, 27, the construction of a new sewer treatment plant, we are still looking at it to promote safe disposal of effluent for the health of the town. It's almost a budget of almost more than 200 million. But currently we don't have a budget for it. Construction and upgrading of a total of 4-kilometer street to bitumen standards. This is a Cemetery Road, 1.2 kilometers Church Street that we done, 1.6 Bogmakiri Road, the 2.2 kilometer that we are still looking at, and then the Nicholas Olivier Road, the 1.1 kilometer. Then you will note, if I still am I still at streets. I'm trying to find a way to. Yes, we are looking now at the upgrading of the road maintenance for line roads such as Captain Hans Diergaard Street and Nicholas Olivier Street. But we have also looked at means and ways where the Office of the Mayor has requested that, is it not possible to us, the RFA, Mr. Muembe was busy with a letter to them, to use the money instead to buy equipment and to see whether we can equip ourselves with equipment instead of continuing with the bidding processes on that road. But the bidding processes are already done. The bid evaluation committee, I think, already submitted the report to the procurement committee, which we just await from them. Then the road maintenance works for several gravel roads, selected roads within the town. It's almost 1 million ongoing projects. Roads are selected based on the conditions and local contractors are hired to re-gravel the roads. As we are saying, under capital provision, we only have 500,000 Namibian dollars available to us. But that is understandable because the ministry also sent us a directive in which they clearly indicated of new commitment of new projects for the 2026-27 financial year, Your Worship, that apparently the 2 billion that the ministry was expecting has been cut down to 1.9 billion only. And that is the problem of they have to serve and cater for the whole local authorities, 59 or 58 local authorities throughout the country. And unfortunately, they will not be able to strengthen us with capital project funding as much as they wanted to. But what they have indicated that new projects should not be undertaken in terms of external funding. That is now external funding in terms of our budget. I'm not talking about the internal funding that we have to fork out ourselves from the community. So the ministry encouraged us to collectively tighten our belts and to focus on meeting our commitments, ministerial key priorities areas, without overcommitting the government. The ministry's prime focus will be on authorized ongoing committed projects before we can commence with any new projects. So if we are still busy with current capital projects that have not been paid up to date yet, that is the only commitment that they are able to serve us with, and to cater that we are covered for. So they indicated that all regional councils and local authorities and relevant institutions are therefore directed not to commit and or commence with any new projects for the 2026-27 financial year at this stage. The ministry will communicate on new projects during the course of the financial year, particularly after the midterm review, should their position improve. That is all that they can do. So there is the reliance that we can always only depending on.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. What we need to also mention in terms of our outreaches is that the outreaches to NHE, First Capital, what is the other one? DBN, they have tailor-made programs that they would partner with the municipalities, and the technocrats must please write proposals and also follow up on that, Mr. CEO, so that we, I think we have what the AC for infrastructure is always saying, the PIP or something, that the projects that we have, that booklet that we also give to the National Planning Commission, where our costing and everything is done of the for all the projects, so that we can at least look at which projects we really want to take to these institutions, so that they can sponsor us. There's various challenges in terms of sewerage in our town. That is now septic tanks that we are experiencing in Wano Park for the last 14 years, where we cannot provide sewerage lines and such. Those projects are overdue. If we can maybe look at which ones can we focus on. I think the same thing in Block H, no, Block G. Block G is also having septic tanks, yeah. And so that we can help with that one. Also, housing projects, can we also pay a little more attention to housing projects such as this? I've been inundated with questions in terms of the Rukoro Ervan that was allocated for the 6,600 in Panov, and we need to give feedback to those people that started paying and all those projects. So maybe in the meetings that we are going to have, we should also touch on those things, so that the community knows that we are cognizant of what, and we are also trying to source external funds in order to finance these projects. With that said, I think we also receive 72 hours. The councillors can ask questions on the report of the CEO if there is any. Councillor Kutse.
Thank you, Worship. Through the chair, I just want to find out certain information, especially on how far are we now with the implementation of the prepaid water meters. Because, Your Worship, the reason I'm asking this question is based on the fact that if we install this and your utility services have been loaded on it, this improves our revenue so that we can focus, because we have to start focusing on the votes of various projects in order for that vote to make money. So we have to start to say that we have to take the installation of prepaid water meters seriously, so that this can be loaded onto the prepaid meters, so that the residents can first pay their utility services and then get the water, so that we can get the revenue from all the utility services, whether it be refuge removal, being it sewage lines that they have to pay, so that we can get this money, so that we can start with the sewage in block on our park and other sections in town, other blocks in towns or areas in towns where it's still needed. So we must actually, it's under my portfolio, and I see really the need that we have to make this a priority, because water and electricity and utility service is our main income. And with that, we can then do these projects and then execute these projects accordingly. And then the community must keep us accountable with the money. But we have to grow the percentage of these accounts being paid from where we are at least to 60 or 70% in order for us to come up with what is the amount for the capital project amount for sewage, just for an example. So if we know that this is the amount that we receive, then we can say after 3 months we can start with this project, or after 6 months we can start with this project with the capital amount that we generated in on that vote specifically. And that's how we need to build this town, and then people will see the development that will take place. The same with what Your Worship mentioned now of the DBNs, of the NHEs. We have to focus on the rates and taxes, the valuation now, in order to generate enough money to bring services to the land, and so that we can try to service this land so that we can bring affordable Erwin to the people. So we just have to follow up on those processes, and I'm just asking through you, Honorable Chairperson, that the technical department through the CEO and the finance department just bring us the updates on every month so that we can continue this process of monitoring as councillors and then give direction on what must be done, how can we execute this so that the process is. Thank you. Also, Your Worship, for the technical department, I saw the pictures of the high mask being, they're busy, the technical department's being busy installing the high mask lights, which will bring a big positive to the community. Thank you for that one. But we need the others also well to follow up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kutsia. This is the last meeting whereby it's actually good that Councillor Kutsia mentioned that portfolio councillors. It is upon the owners of the portfolio councillors to report next month, Mr. CEO, because the challenges that has been mentioned, as you can see, the cut in our allocation and appropriation from the ministry, it leaves us with 500,000 for all capital projects. Now, I went together with some of the councillors to different institutions, financial institutions, to say what can you offer in terms of provision of services, bulk services to us. What do you offer to local authorities? And all of them that I've mentioned previously, such as NHEs, such as the First Capital, DBN, all of them are positive and just waiting for us to now source externally besides what the government offered, the minimum that they offer, and besides the residents, the revenue that we'll collect from the residents. Now it's upon the councillors, the portfolio councillors, to meet with the technocrats to craft the projects in their portfolios that they would want to take to these institutions to say, fund this project. Because the sales of Erwin and plots is very important, but the minister has spoken out against selling or disposing of land without services. It is useless. We cannot provide our public with land, but we have no services such as electricity, water, and sewage. Those are basic rights. So from next meeting, next ordinary council meeting, each portfolio councillor must report on his portfolio and how he or she is progressing in terms of what was assigned to him or her together with the technocrats. So therefore, Mr. CEO, the technocrats must avail themselves to help in crafting these issues with the portfolio councillors so that we can and will be able to report on what is assigned to us. Thank you, Cassandra. We can move on now to 11 point. Where are we? .4 Department of Infrastructure, Town Planning and Technical Services. It's now the report recommendations from the Management Committee. I will give over to the Chairperson of the Management Committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. Under item 11.4.1, we have the drilling and revival of boreholes at Camp 14. So in a nutshell, the purpose of this submission is to request approval for the drilling of a borehole and revival of an existing dry borehole at Camp 14. And to that effect, the management committee has recommended that a borehole be drilled at Camp 14 and the existing dry borehole be revived. Secondly, no allocation of land to farmers on Camp 14 due to moratorium on town land. Grazing tariffs be enforced in line with council regulations, and the legal officer be part of the project to enforce compliance, including issuing warning letters and facilitating eviction of non-compliance. And with that, it has been referred to council.
The recommendations has been moved, and this camp 14, the technicians from Ministry of Agriculture has identified that camp, and the council will not bear any costs of the revival and of the borehole. So therefore, the recommendations was moved from the management committee as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Is there any input on particular recommendation? If councillors have input, it should be on a particular recommendation because we have 72 hours, Ame. Councillor Kutia?
Your Worship, just on an amendment, if possible, to propose that the borehole, this, in essence, I don't have a problem with, but it always becomes a problem after the borehole is been drilled. Who can have supply of the water in the townlands? And then people are saying that there's certain people taking ownership of the pole and other people must pay now and all this. So perhaps that must just be clear in this recommendation that all people in townlands in Camp 14 must and are there to benefit from the bowl water. No restrictions. They must not be restricted to gain water, access to water on this camp. Because it's not mentioning there. It's not mentioned there. Before it becomes or otherwise, if I'm wrong, perhaps Cassandra can just enlighten us. Thank you, Worship.
Cassandra?
Thank you, Your Worship. Regarding the infrastructure of boreholes, it is in the lease contracts that the provision or water provision via a borehole should be accessed by all the tenants on that farmlands surrounding that borehole. So it is in the contract itself.
All right, so it is already in the contract. So we need to just enforce, like you're saying, we have the policies, we don't have the officers to enforce it. I think who propose for the recommendations? Councillor Kutsia propose? Councillor Swartz, second. The chairperson.
We are now at item 11.4.2. That deals with the application to lease a portion of land to erect telecommunication towers in Rehoboth. An application has been received from Powercom Pty Ltd for the lease of a portion of land in Rehoboth for the construction and operation of telecommunication towers. I'm coming to the recommendations. So we have the management committee has thereto recommended that council approves the lease of portion of R231 Block H Extension 1 to the applicant. And thereafter, recommendations 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 have been referred to council.
Honorable councillors, the recommendations, is there any amendment that you would want to make to the recommendations that were made? It is, as was said already, I was just reminded by the legal officer on repetition that that is against the standing rules of the meeting. So I must not repeat what the Honorable Chairperson is saying. The councillors, do you have any, or otherwise you must, there is this, it's approval that has been seek for the telecom communication towers, and there is cost involved. Is there anything that we want to list? It's a list of standard practices. Councillor Gauthier?
Your Worship, I'm just thinking, because the CEO is currently not here, I'm just thinking, did we upgrade the tariff? Perhaps the Kasana knows, we were busy with upgrading the tariffs of all these telecom towers and this networking towers to increase their lease agreements because of the amount they are paying. But if everything is in order and management went through it and saw that everything is in order, I don't have a problem. I just wanted to verify the lease, the tariff as the increment on it.
Chairman?
I'm seeing here at the recommendations, I don't know whether the other councillors have the same, but it's written in pen, note, and then it's standing inclusion of a servitude to the lease is also to be considered by the OCM. That was one of the recommendations that the management committee has made. But then I'm not seeing that it's in the recommendations that have been typed. And for those of us that do not have the soft copy, as is with the case with the mayor, it's not indicated there. So I would have wanted to understand that first and foremost.
The CEO, or perhaps Mr. Moembo? The CEO.
What if I can just explain? This type of lease, they just require a small portion. Let's say we have a public open space like this one, which is very big, but they only require a small portion to erect a tower. So we have to create a servitude, which is a road to get to the tower and that space of the tower, but then we can use the rest of the land for other things. So we just need to, that's why I think the CEO said we should include a servitude. Yeah.
I want to invite, I think in the last meeting, the benchmarking was done of other councils in terms of how much they need to pay, and that is gazetted in the new tariffs.
Please allow me just to mention a sore eye which we didn't handle while we are here. It just came to my attention. All these live trucks and all these other companies like Paratas or those fiber guys, they did a very poor job on restoring our roads. Because if you are driving where the lines were, it's humps. Can we please address that they must come and correct that mistakes and do it properly, because the roads is bad. Everywhere you drive now, you are after a big hump, you are coming across a small, thick hump. And you can even hear your car when you go over it. It's very hard. Where they made the trenches within the road, the tar road, then they tried to fix it, but there is a hump. It's not level, and it's everywhere. It's on this main road to Woerma Church Street or Captain Hans Diergaard's new road now, and the one of Church Street, and it's not properly done. Can we please ask them just to do it properly on that? Just because I saw now on this networking things, and it's a sore eye and it's uncomfortable. It's not nice for people to drive that way. Not uncomfortable, but.
Noted. I think the technical manager is writing notes so that they can communicate to those companies as such. Also, what is important is that what could have, if we read some of the permission of the chairperson, there is a condition attached to this that the condition for any project that was attached by the management committee is number 3. If the chairman can read number 3 of the recommendations, so that if they are in compliance thereof, there should actually be no problem after they put up.
Yeah, and I was actually waiting for my turn to come to that because we have noticed the issue of the environmental clearance certificates, and therefore it's a recommendation that the applicant, obtains an environmental clearance certificate for the site before any construction commences. Yeah.
So how do we check compliance, Mr. Rudolph?
Okay. Through the mayor, maybe just to guide, not every project requires environmental certificate. So it's clearly defined by the the Minister of Environment from the Commission. It clearly defines which project qualifies for environmental certificate to be done. Yeah, so if these projects falls under that, then they have to comply. But if they are outside that, then we can't force them to comply because there are criteria why they are categorized like that. Just to guide them.
Thank you, Mr. Rudolph. But I think you should provide the management at least with those that list of what is required, so that they can, when they make sound decisions based on what is expected in terms of environment impact assessment studies and the compliance thereof. I would invite any proposals and secondments on this. Seeing none. Oh, Councillor Giovanni. Shuafani.
Shuafano.
Oh, Shuafano.
No.
Shuafan. No.
I propose, Your Worship.
Seconded. You're not speaking, Councillor.
I will second it, Your Worship.
Councillor Kaiser seconded. Can we continue with the next?
The next item, Your Worship, your microphone is on, is 11.4.3, which deals with Rebo Station proper Banov, the verification and the allocation project. For clarity, the purpose of this submission is to seek Council's consideration and approval for the continuation of the Rebo Station verification and allocation process. During the 2022 Council, or during 2022, Council approved the allocation of Erwin to the residents residing in Rebo Station. A committee was established to oversee this allocation process. But then the process was initially stopped due to administrative and other irregularities. Hence, the community of Rebo Station have tiredly been waiting for the resumption of this process. To this effect, on the 12th of May, a meeting was held between the community committee and then the council. The management committee has recommended that council approves the appointment of 4 temporary contract workers who previously worked under the Housing and Property, Townlands and Town Planning, which have vast experience in verification and allocation of land or Erwin for the duration of the project period. Secondly, council approved for the payment of overtime for the duration of the verification and allocation of projects. Thirdly, council approved the immediate establishment of a new impartial community committee for the project area. Council, fourthly, does not alter the substance of the original approval, but serves to formalize the verifications and allocation in accordance with statutory and administrative requirements, and therefore it has been referred to council.
Any Discussion, any proposal, any colleagues, honorable councillors? Is there any proposal then? There is no discussion.
I propose.
Councillor Kaiser proposed. Any secondment? Councillor Novasis. We give over to the chairperson again.
We are now dealing with item 11.4.4, which is a subdivision of ERF 649 Rehoboth Block B into ERF A and remainder of ERF 649 Rehoboth Block B, town area of Rehoboth. Very clear cut. The Rehoboth Town Council is hereby submitting an application for the subdivision of ERF 649 Rehoboth Block B into portion A and the remainder of the same to portion B. The recommendations reads as follows. Consideration is given for the need and desirability for the subdivision of ERF 649 Rehoboth Block B into portion A and the remainder of ERF 649 to B. Number 2, approval is granted for the subdivision of ERF 649 Rehoboth Block B and the remainder. Thirdly, approval is subject to adherence to legal requirements as contained in the Urban and Regional Planning Act, Act 5 of 2018. Fourthly, the approval is subject to payment of endowment fees as prescribed. The applicant be responsible for the town planning and cadastral procedures and the cost involved. Number 6, all costs for municipal infrastructure such as roads, sewer, water, electricity, and stormwater drainage be on the cost of the owner being the applicant. Number 7, that the applicant be responsible for any additional charges on electricity referred to council.
Discussions? Councillor Kutche.
I propose, Your Worship.
Any secondment? Councillor Kaiser. The next of the chairperson.
Again, under item 11.4.5, we have another subdivision of ERF 696 Rehoboth Block A into ERF A and remainder of ERF 696 Rehoboth Block A, extension 2, Rehoboth Town Area. A short introduction on behalf of, not on behalf, but Brendan Hartney, acting on behalf of Heston Neville Orlam, ID number 050225000213, unmarried in his capacity as the sole owner of ERF 696 Rehoboth Block A, is hereby submitting an application to the Rehoboth Town Council for the subdivision of the very same ERF into portions A and B. There were the recommendations. Consideration is given for the need and desirability for the subdivision of ERF 696 Block A into extensions 2, Block A extension 2 into ERF A and remainder B. Approval is granted for the subdivision. Number 2. Thirdly, approval is subject to the adherence of legal requirements as contained in the Urban and Regional Planning Act, Act 5 of 2018. Fourthly, the approval is subject to payment of endowment fees as prescribed. Number 5, the applicant be responsible for the town planning and town planning cadastral procedures and the cost involved. Number 6, all costs for municipal infrastructure, as was mentioned with the previous item, beyond the cost of the owner being the applicant. Number 7, that the applicant be responsible for any additional charges on an electricity network contribution that may be brought about as a result of rezoning and subdivision referred to council.
It is rezoning. Any discussion or any proposal, any secondment? Councillor Tara. Councillor Tara proposed. Councillor Overseas. Second. Over to you.
Now we come to item 11.4.6, the amendment to council resolution that deals with Powercom Pty Ltd. The purpose of this submission is to seek consideration to amend the council resolution relating to the approval of the lease application for Powercom Pty Ltd to formally correct the numeric error, the typographical error from ERF 725 Block C Extension 1 to read as ERF 725 Block D as required for ministerial approval. So here we just see that there was a typographical error pertaining to the ERF number. So the recommendation was that council approves the lease of portion of ERF 725 Block D to the applicant. This rectification does not alter the substance of the original approval, but serves to formalize and clarify the financial terms of the lease in accordance with statutory and administrative requirements, and therefore it was referred to council.
Council took already a resolution in 28 October 2024, but with the wrong F number. So the submission is just returning to us to say we just want to correct the F number. Any discussion? Proposed by Councillor Kuchia, second by Councillor Geister. I hand over to the chairperson.
Item 11.4.7, the approval for the operations, maintenance and management guidelines for the Banov Multi-Purpose Center on F236 Rebo Station. Herewith we are dealing with a submission that was made to seek approval for the management committee for the adoption and implementation of the operations, maintenance and management guideline for the newly constructed Banov Multi-Purpose Center in Rehoboth. A very short background for our viewers attending virtually. The Banov Multi-Purpose Center was developed through cooperation and development agreements between GIZ, ISUD2, and the Rehoboth Town Council with the primary objective of addressing sanitation, social and economic challenges within Rehoboth Station, colloquially referred to as Banov informal settlement. The center was conceptualized on the understanding that shared sanitation infrastructure provides an immediate, technically feasible and sustainable sanitation solution while simultaneously creating opportunities for social cohesion, recreation, early childhood development and local economic activities. Therewith, it was recommended that the Management Committee approves the operations, maintenance and management guideline for the Banov Multi-Purpose Center, authorizes secondly the Rehoboth Town Council administration to implement the approved guideline as the operational framework governing the management and the use of the facility, and therewith it was referred to council.
Councillors, we went to visit after the center was sent over. It's in Banov, and we now have to decide on how the Banov community can use the multi-purpose center. Can we have a proposal discussion or secondment? Okay, sir.
I propose, Your Worship.
Proposed. Second by Councillor Swart. Chairman. Councillor Kuchia.
Just to get it correct, are we doing now RTC taking over the whole center to maintain it itself?
Yes, I think Council, Mr. Rudolph, just give a brief background and how the center come to being and then how we were handed it over.
Sorry, Your Worship, I'm just asking, are we now maintaining
He
it
will
itself?
explain to you.
Oh, because if it's yes, then it's okay.
Okay.
Then you can
Let me
continue.
just give you a brief, so for the benefit of all of us and those that are listening, what is the
Okay.
center and how it was manufactured or built, not manufactured, and then what is the purpose?
Yeah, the multi-purpose center, sanitation center, it was one of the initiatives that came as a result of COVID issues. It has taken a long time to implement, but finally, through the help of GIZ, we have now set up the center. And the main component of the center is we have the ECD center, was hall for the children. And then we have the ablution facilities for the community, actually constructed in a robust way to deal with the community engagement. So it's actually for the community. And then we have a braai area, and then we have also a shade area for where meetings can take place. So it's actually a multi-purpose center. The idea is also that we then bring in a kind of a compartment or a container for services, for council services like selling of water, electricity, and etc. And also to provide a space for social services like the pension payments. Yes, so that's the idea. So it's a center for a lot of activities in Banov. But the idea is it should be accessible and affordable by the community of Banov. Then we needed to put up an operational plan or an operational guideline on how are we going to run it. Are we going to employ an independent facility manager that will run the operations of the center on behalf of the council? Or is council going to run it directly? Maybe have an employee of council that is assigned. So the guideline now provides those mechanisms on how we're going to operate it. So yes, so we are going to take charge of it. We are going to employ a facility manager who's going then to operate it on behalf of the council on a contractual agreement with council. The fee that is going to charge will have to be approved by council because we are saying it should be affordable to the people. So that's why we just need the operational guidelines to be approved. Yeah.
Honorable Kutsi, you're fine.
Yes, thank you, Worship. It was just that understanding I needed, but thank you.
And over, it is proposed and seconded already. Hand over to the chairperson.
Item 11.5 now resorts under the Department of Local Economic Development and Community Services. The previous items were under the Department of Infrastructure, Town Planning and Technical Services. This submission is for the, I don't know whether it's a typographical, it's a proposal. Yeah, there's a small typographical error. A proposal to appoint a consultant for feasibility study and environmental impact assessment, proposed service station development, Block E, Rehoboth. The council has approved in principle the proposed development of a service station in Rehoboth, Block E. I won't read in saying of a service station in Block E, Rehoboth. I'm reading as follows. The council has approved in principle the proposed development of a service station in Rehoboth, Block A. While the project presents a potentially valuable investment opportunity, it is important that the development process be guided by proper technical, environmental, and economic assessment to ensure the long-term viability and sustainability of the project. Now let's look at the recommendations. Councillors, firstly, River Town Council identify the possible plots to sell or lease the land at related market value. River Town Council run an expression of interest and shortlist 3 possible developers that can be invited to give presentation to council. That the cost to undertake the feasibility and desirability study be borne by the successful developer. The cost for the environmental impact assessment and town planning process be borne by the developer as per the Environmental Management Act, Act number 7 of 2007, and the Urban and Regional Planning Act, Act number 5 of 2018. All costs for municipal infrastructure be on the cost of the developer. Number 6, applicant be responsible for any additional charges on electricity network contribution that may be brought about as a result of the development referred to council.
Any discussions? Any proposal secondments? Is it the proposal? Okay. Proposed by Councillor Swartz, second by Councillor Obasis. Anything else? Councillors? Yes, Councillor Kutsi.
Is the area already identified or not yet?
CEO?
The area, thank you, Worship. The area is not yet completely identified. We have looked at certain areas in Block E so that we can properly identify them. That is why the feasibility study is one of the things that we are trying to look at. So it might not be only the only area that we will have to look at once we find an area, a located area that is feasible for us, but we also look at whether it's conducive to the environment and to the community living in that area. That is what we are trying to look at. But for now is to look at the soliciting of services of those consultants to come and tell us what is the appropriate area to start with this thing. But the idea is to be in the Block A area, nowhere else.
Thank you. Your Worship, may I continue?
Yes.
Alongside His Excellency Akekainkop Drive, as you pass now from the cemeteries towards to Block E, which Block E is on your left-hand side, that whole open space there. If we can recall that this was also previous term one of our areas that we wanted to also to look into a service station. I'm not saying it must be there. I'm just asking, can we demarcate that area if possible? If so, also to look into others like a shopping center or any other, that whole area, so that we can make that whole area. So this bond of what the developer must bond with others, then we can make it almost like I don't want to use the word combo, but a multi-developing on that area, so that the services being brought there also assist the council to tap with the sewerage areas on that areas and so forth. If we can use that line, because I think, I'm just talking under correction, through the chair, Mr. Rudolph can just tell, or Mr. Freddy can just give us the information at Block E, that next to the Akekainkop Road, that they were welcome, them are on that line, and then between the road and that area, I think it was enough for service station, but also other developments as well. Can't we use that area to improve that in once and seek more investors to come and develop there for the services, to bring services to that area as well?
Rudolph?
Yeah, maybe just to provide some guidance, the reason why maybe up to now we have not specifically pointed at which area is because we have extensive planning that has already taken place along the corridor that we are talking about. There's a lot of planning that has happened along that corridor. Also, that corridor is linked to the Roy Dana area that is now being formalized. So the linkage is already planned. Then we have also the plans on the corridor of the street that takes us to Oanop Community Hall. So now we need to integrate those plans. So when we are going to say here is the appropriate area, of course, with the service station, we have to consider accessibility, conveniency, and all that, because it should be next to the road. But then we need to integrate it in the existing plans already. So we will be able to indicate tentative 3 places that we are going now to put out in terms of expression of interest. And when the developers respond, then they will now evaluate the most appropriate area, and that's what's going to be selected. But we will indicate at least 3 possible areas.
Is it clear, Councillor Kutsia?
Yes, Your Worship. It's clear.
Yeah, what Councillor Kutsia I think thinks is in terms of where the location would be, there should also be, like GI said, always emphasize on planning of economic activities besides that one thing. If we are to open a let's say for USAFE, then there should be small or medium cubicles where the businesses and taxi ranks and all those economic thriving things that must be attracted to that area. That's what Councillor Kutsia is emphasizing on, so that it cannot be just the isolated service station, but there is no other businesses. Maybe there should be a taxi ring because people will be coming there, and then memes will be selling fat cake and all that things. Just to develop economic activity along with that service station. So when we talk about it, you are saying it should be considered also in terms of that. So I think the feasibility is an important aspect in terms of to see, is it feasible, meaning will the developer make profit? Will the people be able to, will they be enough cars to come and fill up? So I think the area should be in such an area where it links block B to block E and block C and this Roy Dana, so that it should be a hub center where all these cars, because it's only on the B1 that we have all the services for now at this moment. So if we have services there, service station, then it will be fine. So it was the feasibility and the environmental impact is the core that the submission is seeking to say we want to know, is it feasible, and we also want to know, is it safe environmentally to have that there. That's what the submission is seeking, and that's what it was proposed and seconded for. Yeah, but with the addition of Councillor Kutsi saying we must also consider secondary business activities along with that. So when they are doing the feasibility, you'd want them to also look at what if there is a small medium enterprise cubicle added, what if a texturing is added, it must be looked at the broader sense. That's what Councillor Kutsia says. So the feasibility should include that, and the environmental impact must also include that. Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Kutsia? Okay. I think it was already discussed and submitted, and is it fine? You have the... All right, we continue with the chairman.
11.5.2, submission for approval, lease of Rehoboth Town Council Clubhouse to Dillon's Investment, CC. Let's go there. The purpose of this submission is to seek the consideration and approval to grant approval to the Rebo Town Council Sports and Recreation Social Club to lease the clubhouse to Dylan's Investment CC for a period of 12 months. The background is clear cut. Let's now go to the recommendations. Council approved the lease of the clubhouse to Dylan's Investment CC for a period of 12 months under the Rebo Town Council Sports Recreation Social Club. Limit the lease strictly to the clubhouse, excluding the sports stadium and fields. Any additional requirements must be addressed in the terms of reference of the lease agreement. Thirdly, mandate that any other events hosted at the clubhouse be done in consultation with the executive committee. And fourthly, authorize the legal officer to draft the formal lease agreement to be signed by the CEO, Management Committee Chairperson, and Sports and Recreation Social Club Chairperson.
This is the clubhouse that is belonging to the social club of the council, the employees, and it is situated at the Rebo Stadium. It is not utilized, and submission 6 for it to be used or leased. I'm a bit worried, CEO, in terms of the CEO and the chairperson should be the only ones that sign documentation, and not the sports committee and club and the chairperson and those people, isn't it? It's mandatory. Yes, so let us just look at that recommendation and correct it into that effect. Councillor Kutse.
Mine is just, in essence, not a problem. My question is just on the liquor license on our premises. Won't that cost us? Won't that be a issue, because we are a local authority, and bringing a clubhouse? I don't mind if it's a clubhouse where what they're trying, but if there's selling of alcohol in the license part, won't we get a lot of criticism of that? I'm just asking, are we allowed to do it in such a manner or not? If it's so that we can, then fine by me. I'm just asking the question because it's a council property.
The CEO, guidance. SE for community.
Thank you, Your Worship. In principle, the clubhouse is under the auspices of the social club. And yes, it can have a legal license, however, not under the town council. And given that the sports committee also do not have the financial capability to run the clubhouse, and there's been a demand for it, and also we have this interest because we are currently busy with fundraising for the Saimsa Games. So we thought this would be viable because it's the only, the investor approached us, and for the lease of it, so they can have the legal license under themselves. But we have security measures, and as it is said, the TOR will be clear on what will be the operation hours and etc. But yes, the lessee is obligated. They can have a legal license, but not the town council.
So in essence, then the building that they are leasing will have their company's name and everything there, and also just take away the council's colors and stuff, so that we're not being seen as one of selling it. I'm just asking. Ms. Days, I'm just asking this question.
Council is protected.
It's a very sensitive thing when it comes to us renting out our facilities. So we just have to look out for that. Like I said, in essence, I do not have a problem. I just want us to follow the right criteria. So, but it's under the company's name, under Dylan Investments' name. So his things will be there, and he will take the lease, and it's him, not under council. So it's on his own. But I'm just asking that question just for the information for public as well, so that the public can know it's not ours. We are leasing it out to a company, and that company will sell to the sports events to people attending there, supporters actually. He will sell to supporters, public people. Just to get it out, Your Worship, in a proper manner. Thank you.
The Deputy Mayor.
Your Worship, I agree with Honourable Councillor Kutsia. Since Rehoboth has got so many liquor outlets, is it really considerable selling alcohol? Thank you, Your Worship.
Good. Honorables, maybe the 2 cents that I, for my contribution. Councillor Kutsia.
Your Worship, if it's under a company's name, I do not have a problem because I know, because we can't do it as a Rehoboth Town Council. So I just want to get it clear for the community because we are live streamed for people to understand it properly. So we are not selling the alcohol. That's all that I want to make clear. It's not on us. It's on, that's why I asked the question. I didn't say it. That's why I asked so that the clarity can come from the LED office, from the SE person to say, this is the procedures and this is what is it. For the public to hear the proper information before gossips and things starts and say Rehoboth is selling it. That's why I just wanted it out so they can hear. It's not Rehoboth Town Council selling it. It's under a person leasing the place to sell it. Because it's needed for the refreshments. It's not only alcohol that they will sell. They will sell other refreshments and foods and stuff, whatever it may be. But it's just, it's not the Rehoboth Town Council who is selling these liquors or these refreshments. It's the person who's leasing the facility.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor, I would like to also emphasize on that part before I give to the SE for Local Economic and Community Services. The police force has what they call a canteen. The Namibian Defence Force is what they call a canteen. The social club of this council, it's part of the wellness program that they should have such a clubhouse. Now they are the ones that is supposed to sustain it. But because of lack of funds, they are now leasing it out. Because you and I, as normal honorable councillors, cannot go to Outru. Because then we would be said, no, why are you here? While you're even serving them as a community member. So now the community of this council can come together, the workers come together at the clubhouse, which is resorting under the Rehoboth Town Council, but now leased out. And then they should have their social gatherings there. So it's not a foreign concept. It's even the police that are law enforcement and the Namibian Defence Force that is task of the safety and security of this country have to relax at some point and rejuvenate themselves, relax, etc. So it's not a foreign concept. That's what I need to say. It was ideally supposed to be run by the council social club, but they don't have the funds. Thus, they are renting it out so that they can also resort under this. So it's not foreign. Is there any discussion, proposal, secondment? Yes, sir.
We just have to make clear because currently the pool, RTC Pool Club is also using the facility. Yes, so, but for example, if it's the case, can we just then move the pool club then to the tennis courts for time being?
I think we can look at the terms of reference. Maybe you can still be accommodated because it's a council activity and it's a sports activity. So we can look into the nitty-gritties and the terms of references of that when we are there. So it's for the wellness of the staff members that it should be considered. Councillor Ngova says. Councillor Ngova says proposed. Councillor, I'm waiting. Councillors, who seconds? Councillors, who seconds?
I second. The question is just
Let's just finish that second.
yes.
Noted. Now I'll give you opportunity.
Yeah. This was just a question based on the canteen part. On the canteen part, it was just a normal question like canteens, can it also be used at council? Can council also lease their facilities for people outside to lease the facility, open the canteen? It was,
The clubhouse, it's not a canteen.
no, not that. Your worship mentioned something about the canteen. So the
Should be clear. Let me just say, the police force doesn't have a clubhouse. They have what they call a canteen. So council cannot have a canteen because it's the police force. In the NDF has a canteen because they are not local authorities. They cannot have a clubhouse. That's the difference. Canteens we cannot have canteens at Rehoboth Council. It's just to bring the concept in. LESE for LED and community services.
Thank you, Your Worship. If we do research on the subject, then we will find that all local authorities have clubhouses on their premises run by the social clubs. And also, since we do not have the financial capability, and this company has approached us, when we approached them for sponsorship for the SAMSA Games, they offered to lease this establishment from the council, assisting us to run it, as we have a lot of activities going on. So the fundraising activities of the social club will take place there. But since we do not have the funds to buy alcohol and sell it, we submit to council for approval to go lease it out to this applicant. Also, there was a question from the social media, why was it not put out on tender? It was not put out on tender. As I'm saying, this belongs to the social club, and when we were seeking sponsorships for the recently taken place Nalasra Games, we were offered by Dylan's Investment as part of their contribution to lease out, and they will sponsor us for the SAMSA Games, which they have also already announced themselves on the sponsorship, which is totally apart from leasing the establishment. And maybe for the sake of this meeting, Honorable Kutsia, just for correction, we cannot table questions from the floor through the councillors during a OCM. Questions from the floor must be done after the meeting through the various channels that are there, but not through the councillors, as I've noticed that the question was raised from the floor. Thank you.
Noted. We continue. Given the time, and we hand over the chairperson.
Your Worship, we have come to the end of the public session of the OCM.
Oh, thank you for giving me back. Okay, before we say goodbye to our viewers and residents that are in the confines of Rehoboth and that carries the interest of Rehoboth Town Council and Rehoboth as a community, we would like to thank you for always keeping us on our toes, always for the positive and the negative criticism. That's what leadership should take. You can not only take the hand clap and applauses, but you must also take the negative and work around it, so that that is part of leadership. So we do appreciate both contributions. Questions arising, road rehabilitation in and around town. Mr. CEO, road rehabilitation in and around town in terms of the potholes that we have, many of them around town. We must look at ways how we can address them in the interim period, and also communicate with the public as to how and when we will this minor maintenance on the roads in terms of road rehabilitation in and around the town. I have no nonsense approach in terms of corporate social responsibility with all businesses that are doing businesses with Rehoboth Town Council. I will never compromise. If you are doing business with Rehoboth Town Council, you must leave a footprint. You must assist in tangible projects that would benefit the public of Rehoboth. You cannot take millions out of our town and not have any corporate social responsibility. We don't even see any, even your nameplate, we don't see the businesses that we have been using for the past 10 years. Somewhere where you have donated a pair of shoes to a school-going child. And that is unacceptable. So businesses must take note that we will strictly impose, and if you take your business elsewhere, good luck, tough luck. But corporate social responsibility of all businesses that are doing business with us is a serious matter. Millions taken out, no corporate social responsibility. That will not work with us. So therefore, businesses, the stance will be, what are you willing to give? What are you willing to cooperate or live with us? The fitnesses of SMEs and businesses, we have been inundated with requests as to the high prices that we offer in terms of fitnesses, and we are benchmarking with other municipalities. We will have an information session. As I've said in the beginning of the meeting, we will have an information session whereby we will educate through the public, the Central Procurement Board assistance together with our local one to educate and also to see how we can assist in this regard. And also the community is given platforms during our budget meetings to have input on this pricing and tariffs. Then I'd also like to reiterate the meeting times. This coming Sunday we are having a meeting at 2 o'clock at Wanup Community Hall for the budget tabling to the community, and at 4 at the Captain Hermanus van Wyk Memorial Hall at 4 o'clock. With that said, I'd like to thank all the viewers, all the participants on our social media, and all the councillors, all the technocrats for taking part in today's meeting. Thank you and goodbye. We move over to the closed session, which is now the in-camera.